I'm going to be saying the word nostalgia a lot in this video, so if you want to drink or do something every time I say it, start now. Alright, on with the video. My Little Pony nostalgia just hits different. There's something about these colorful ponies that has the power to take you back to a better time. Why is that? Well, that's what we'll be discussing today, along with how the show itself addresses nostalgia, why I think My Little Pony is nostalgic for myself and others, and if nostalgia for ponies is healthy or not. So to begin, I'm certainly not the only one who is nostalgic for ponies. In the Brony fandom, around 2012 or 2013 is known as the golden age of the fandom, since it was still fresh and at its peak during these years. I unfortunately wasn't able to experience the golden age because I first got into ponies in 2014 thanks to my cousins, and I didn't actually learn about the Brony fandom until 2022. And yes, if you're wondering, the Brony fandom is still around today. Don't you dare tell me otherwise, because as long as there is still air in my lungs, I will protect the Bronies with my life. It's definitely smaller now, but there's nothing wrong with that since there are plenty of people who are very dedicated to it. I mean, I'm transitioning out of a successful Minecraft channel to work on this one called Croix. Thanks a lot for inspiring me so much, the score. I also kind of gave up on any chance of me ever getting a girlfriend, but I have noticed that most of my viewers are female that are in the 18 to 24 age range, so call me. And Prince Whatever made a song all about how he wants to go back to 2013 for ponies. There are even panels at pony conventions completely dedicated to nostalgia. I've even been to a couple, not really sure why I'm proud of that. So there you go, My Little Pony is nostalgic. Now I shouldn't have to worry about anyone going, well actually it's not nostalgic, because I just established that it is, so take that. But the show itself addresses pony nostalgia in the last episode, even though it's been over 5 years since the episode came out. If you don't want spoilers, then skip to this time code. In the finale of Friendship is Magic, there are multiple occurrences when they address nostalgia and growing up. A great example of this is when Twilight, Sparkle, and Spike are moving out of their playset house. Twilight finds one of Spike's old Power Ponies comics, and he says he doesn't need it anymore since he's growing up and he doesn't know how much longer he'll even collect them. Twilight insists he takes it because he used to love the Power Ponies. This scene is deeper than just Spike growing out of Power Ponies. It's more so about us, the fans, moving on as the show itself comes to an end. And then in the episode where Starlight, Glimmer, and Sunburst go back to their hometown, and yes, Starlight, Glimmer, and Sunburst is a terrible ship since the superior ship is Starlight and Croix. But Starlight's father wants to preserve the past and Sunburst's mother wants to modernize the town. They learn that they need to embrace the future while also remembering the past, which gives the town its identity. But in this video, I won't be talking about Generation 5 at all since it's not really nostalgic. Sorry, Sunny, you can still be my third waifu. And I also won't be discussing the older generation since I'm not really qualified to talk about them. However, some of these same ideas may still apply if you grew up during the 1980s to early 2000s. So the following reasons are why I find My Little Pony to be nostalgic. If you have any other ones, I'd love to hear them in the comments or in my Discord server, which you can join as well. So to start off, the first reason I find My Little Pony nostalgic is this idea of the liminal spaces, backgrounds, and setting of the show. The world and art style of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is so whimsical and fitting for the show. Just look at some of these pictures and it'll instantly transport you back to the 2010s. And then you realize how little Ponyville is in this expansive land of Equestria and how many different locations there are. It just has this sort of creepy but comforting feeling that's difficult to describe. Or maybe it is easy, I just feel like I don't want to talk about feelings. And then there's the concept of liminal spaces, which are simply images of these locations that don't have any people in them and are dreamlike and eerie, yet they invoke certain emotions such as nostalgia. My Little Pony has some liminal spaces in it, and I believe that this could be a reason that it feels so nostalgic. Now let's transition into discussing the primitive animation of the show. The animation of the first few episodes of the show is clearly not as developed in the later seasons. Here is a clip from the first episode, and here is a clip from the last episode. They look quite a bit different. I'm by no means a professional animator, but I think some reasons for this is the colors are much more saturated at the beginning. It also just feels more rigid, where in the later seasons it's more expressive and well polished. But I would be lying if I said I like the newer style better. I guess just this older style is an example of the older episodes of Friendship is Magic. Another thing I grew up with is Minecraft parodies, and I see this in them too. There's no doubt they've gotten better over the years if computers have gotten gotten so much more powerful. Thanks a lot, Gordon Moore, for the golly gosh darn Moore's Law. Clever Croix, don't you cuss? That was only in 2 videos, and then this video changed my life. I don't want to go to jail and eat broccoli after all. But one example of this is with Mine It Out, which is a parody of Scream and Shout by will.i.am. The animation is certainly lacking, but I think it better represents the vibe of Minecraft being blocky, somewhat rigid, and pixelated. Now this might just be a case of rosy retrospective. Oh shoot, I did not say that right. Rosy retrospection, and don't get me wrong, I do like the newer animations. They are much more fluid and expressive, but the older ones feel closer to the Minecraft we know and love. The reason that I bring this up is because I kind of see the same thing with My Little Pony. Yes, we might think that the older animation feels more classic, but as media evolves over time, corporations feel the need to adapt to this ever-growing world.
Like corporations are a platypus.
And nowadays we just have Tell Your Tale, or technically had it, but its art style does not compare to Friendship is Magic's, even in the later seasons. I think it lost that whimsical feel that I discussed earlier. It's also just so fast-paced that it never slows down for us to just collect our thoughts and comprehend what is even going on. But that's a discussion for a different day. Now on to the music. In general, there are a lot of scientific reasons about why we like music and why it can feel so nostalgic. I'll link an article in the description if you'd like to learn more. Now, I am by no means a musician or a psychologist. I'm supposed to be a nerdy software engineer. Here's a bit of a song I wrote about overcoming my addiction to Calculator Mario. Oh, I just want to play Mario all day on my TI-84 calculator. One reason that music is nostalgic is because our brains are wired to basically pick up on the patterns in songs and we remember them better. This is part of the reason why preschoolers are taught using music. Trying to learn the ABCs is easier when set to music than trying to learn without. Even if you haven't heard a song in years, once you hear it again, you may be able to remember all the words to it. And music also just has the power to remind us of certain times and places. I think for me, the most nostalgic music from My Little Pony would have to be from the MLP iOS game. The reason people call it that is because the actual name of it is Magic Princess, and who wants to say they're playing a game called Magic Princess? But yeah, the background music is just so whimsical and fitting for the show and the game. If the game soundtrack is not playing at my funeral, I'm not coming to it. It also has this medieval vibe to it, which sort of makes it feel like it's from Lord of the Rings. Oh gosh, my whole life just flashed before my eyes. I realized that someday I'm going to have to buy my girlfriend a ring. That is, if I ever actually get a girlfriend. I'm only working a minimum wage job, and once I graduate college, I'm not going to have any money since AI is going to take over the software engineering field, and then I'll be out on the street holding up a sign saying, "Well, code for food." But speaking of the MLP iOS game, if you'd like to add me, here's my friend code. But we're not really going to be friends per se. It'll really be more of a parasocial relationship since I'm horse famous now because I just hit 100 subscribers, so thank you all for that. Anyways, sorry about the tangent, but as a side note, there's something about those old fan songs and animations by artists such as Aviators or the PMVs by Brony Dance Party that feel nostalgic to me, even though I didn't find it until almost a decade after the golden age of My Little Pony. This is actually what is known as historical nostalgia, or anemoia, I probably didn't say that right, which refers to a sentimental longing or yearning for time in history that one did not personally experience, often fueled by dissatisfaction with the present or a romanticized view of the past. Thank you, Google AI overview, for that. So moving on, another reason I think My Little Pony is nostalgic is because of physical media like DVDs, books, CDs, and other things of that nature. I've actually bought a couple of Pony DVDs for when the robots decide to like rebel against us and the internet collapses. That way I can at least preserve a part of the Brony fandom for future generations. I also have some CDs because I'm an absolute stan for pony musicians. I even have some books too, but I can't read, so they're pretty much pointless outside of preserving them for when humanity inevitably destroys itself and then a few survivors rebuild the population and all history will be lost except for this stuff right here. So now you'd think that having the internet and access to My Little Pony on YouTube and streaming services like Netflix is better, but it isn't really special anymore like it was back when you had to wait to watch it on DVD or TV. Frankly, I think DVDs are becoming a thing of the past. Actually, that's kind of a fact since Redbox pretty much shut down, and so did Family Video as well. Have you ever seen a Generation 5 DVD? Nope. I've been seeing a lot of videos lately about how people are saying that they like the days before streaming services better. Why would that be? Well, you don't really own the movies and shows, you're just sort of renting them. I guess that's kind of like life. We're really only renting the things around us until our eventual death. Well, that got dark fast, but the thing about physical media is that once you own it, you don't have to pay monthly to watch it, and they can't just take it away from you unless you live in like the world of 1984 or Fahrenheit 451. You also don't need Wi-Fi to watch it, you don't need to sign into an account to watch it, and it also retains value. That's one reason why I'd rather buy the physical game cartridges for the Nintendo Switch so I can turn around and sell them when I'm done. You can't sell it to someone once you buy it from the online game store, you can't even let your friend borrow it. And regarding My Little Pony and streaming services, I went to a panel this summer at TrotCon about how My Little Pony Generation 5 is failing, and in hindsight it undeniably did, but one of the reasons presented at this panel was because of Netflix. Ultimately, kids are the target audience of My Little Pony. Like, yeah, they have weirdos like me, but they're preying on kids. That sounds really sus. But kids don't have credit cards to pay for Netflix, so they have to get their parents to pay for it if they want to see Make Your Mark. So then there is Tell Your Tale, which anyone can watch for free on YouTube. Remember when shows were actually on TV and you would have to watch it at a certain time? Wow, I'm really starting to sound like a boomer now. I'm only 19, I'm not that old, but I did live through that. But now you have instant access to My Little Pony anywhere, anytime. Technically it's better now, but it's just different. It's instant gratification. You don't have to wait for anything anymore, which makes it feel less special and less earned in my mind. Another reason I think My Little Pony is nostalgic would have to be the old memes. Instead of telling you why memes are funny, why don't I just show you? And finally, there's just the simplicity of it. My Little Pony isn't a super over-the-top complex show. It's just a bunch of colorful ponies learning about friendship. Unless you want to get into all the comic books and the lore and all of that, it's relatively simple. Really, life can suck sometimes now or even back in the early days of the show, but watching ponies can be an escape from this reality. But to quote one of the best bands of all time, My Little Romance, from their song Famous Last Heard, "This world is so demanding, a life so bleak, a world that's so enchanting I won't leave." And additionally, the show can be a reminder of being a kid instead of the mundane reality of adulthood. An example of this is with the Cutie Mark Crusaders. They're so passionate about getting their cutie marks, and they just try everything that they can because they're so curious about the world around them. This is very similar to my favorite short film, Alike. It follows this boy and his dad in this gray and lifeless city. The dad gets his happiness from his son because the son is very happy and creative, but when the boy gets smacked in the face by the sadistic reality of life and feels the need to conform, then the dad loses his happiness too. And now the kids in My Little Pony just sit around on their phones all day watching clip trot videos about Kai Cenat hitting Gritty with Skibbity Ohio Junkler drinking Grimace Shake. Sorry about that. So now that we've discussed how My Little Pony is nostalgic, I'd like to answer the question about whether nostalgia for ponies is good or bad. Really, at the end of the day, it's all about finding a healthy balance in life. Some nostalgia for ponies, or just about anything for that matter, can be good. Nostalgia has the power to shape who we are and give us our identity, and through that, we can relate to other people that feel the same way about said thing. But you can't allow it to consume you and make you stuck in the past that you can't move forward with your life. I've been cynical like that in the past, and it is not healthy. If you're only focusing on old memories, then you can't make new ones. So I encourage you to get out there and make some new memories. As my dad, Dr. Scott the paleontologist, says, get outside, get into nature, and make your own new memories instead of staying stuck in the past. Actually, if Dr. Scott the paleontologist was my dad, he'd probably be really disappointed that I'm not into old dinosaur bones and instead I like cartoon horses. But anyways, some ways that you can make new memories could be going to a PonyCon, maybe give Generation 5 a chance, or try a different show like Bluey Wildmane's aka the best TV show ever, or that one circus show, or you could even actually try going outside. Alright, well that's all I got. Let me know why you find My Little Pony nostalgic in the comments, or you can just tell me your favorite VeggieTales character. Well, until next time, I will see you on the other side, and happy clopping. Phew, that was a lot of work to record all that. Oh, bottle flip. I didn't land it.